Hello, guys. Welcome to Rex Arthur TV. This is the Rex Arthur Show where we discuss LGBTQ issues with an LGBTQ perspective and an LGBTQ approach in an LGBTQ plus planet and humanistic approach. And we are going on with part two of the biological power of LGBTQ parents. And I had stopped where I discussed about mitochondria. I had stopped where we discussed about mitochondria. Now, mitochondria, we said in the part one, is an organ, a very small organ in the cell that powers the it powers the cells of the body. All the body cells, all the cells in the body have mitochondria. It's like the engine of the cell. And this engine comes from your mother. Your mother gives you mitochondria, though in some few cases, the father's mitochondria can spill into your mitochondrial system, and you tend to have both the father's mitochondria and the mother's mitochondria. So it's a new study that has been found out. Of course, every time they are doing studies, and so it's now called the biparental mitochondria. But normally, and so far, it is only the mother who gives you the mitochondria. Discussing to myself, and when I was looking at the lesbian chimpanzees, and then of course also the gay chimpanzees, but I was looking at the lesbians because these are the mothers of they give birth, and they also have, they like human beings, they menstruate. People don't you know they don't wear menstrual pads. We humans, we are so polished. If you compare animals, our lives to animals, we are very, very polished, and they menstruate. So the egg cell of a chimpanzee is similar to the human egg cell. That's why evolutionists believe and state that the human beings, we evolved from the chimpanzees many years ago, and of course with evolution it changed. It's mutation and mutation upon mutation. So that's why we are similar to chimpanzees. It's a fact. So these days I'm not scared by people who they make fun of, especially black people, because even the day when I posted about chimpanzees, gay chimpanzees, some white person came and complained, or not complained, and made fun and said, is that how Africans have sex? And I showed him, no, not only Africans, black Africans, even Asians and whites have gay sex the way black people have gay sex. And I showed him, and of course Facebook had to ban me. But I had to do it because I wanted to show him that white, Asians, black, we are all one. We come from one ancestor. It's as simple as that. We come from one ancestor, minus aliens, of course, and angels. We come from one ancestor. As long as you're born of a woman, you have an umbilical cord, please, you have one ancestor. And that ancestor is an African. They were black Africans, both the mother and the father. And chimpanzees are naturally found in Africa, not in Europe. So that is even more proof that Africa is the home of humanity. So I was asking myself that if there's a lesbian chimpanzee, and there's also a straight chimpanzee, and there's a bisexual chimpanzee. Now, the mitochondria of the lesbian chimpanzee is not the mitochondria of the bisexual chimpanzee. And maybe could not be the mitochondria of the straight chimpanzee. Okay, I was, it's not that it's, I, and please, as I said in the other video, this is a scientific but philosophical. So when I'm on if I'm philosophical, now is when I'm philosophical. I'm thinking that way, but it's not a very good preposition or supposition, because in a family you can have a child, you can have children, and one child is gay and the other one is straight and the other one is maybe bisexual. So the it and they have one mitochondria. So what could happen is that if that's the case, whereby the mitochondria is the same but the sexual orientation of the children is different, then it is probable that the sexual orientation of the children is influenced by hormones and not necessarily by the blood. However, when the mother is a full blood, I mean, what I mean full blood, she is a lesbian naturally. You know, she's a lesbian. She's a lesbian. A lesbian is a natural woman who has sex with women. So if she is, the probability of her having gay children is very high. Reason being, the genetic material that has made her lesbian is passed down to her children through the mitochondria and the blood, and sometimes the blood. That's why like girls take from the mother. They take from the mother, and the boys take from the father. However, because of the mitochondrial influence the mother has on the children, even the boys have a significant part of the mother, even if they are boys. So the only thing the Y chromosome does is to define their sex. Now, why am I saying this? Is because science has proven that when a child is left-handed, 80% it is because it came from the mother's side, versus 60% or 50% from the father's side. So what does this mean? The mother has a lot of influence on her children, even if they are male. Because of one thing, as I said in the other video, the egg cell is bigger than the sperm cell. So it means mathematically the mother will have more influence on the children than the father. That's the reality. And men should not look at it and say feel bad. No, it's just a reality. I mean, you've already done your part to determine the sex. And besides, these days, there is no need of any man or woman. Yes, all of those things have gone. Thanks to stem cell reproduction. You don't need sex to make children. So what does that mean? You don't need a father or a mother. Yes, they have changed. It's changed. It's just that we have not yet digested. But in the next 50 years, it is going to hit people. And they will understand. They will know, yes, it's true. The world has changed. You don't need a father, mother. We have changed. The world has changed. It's just that you are yet to digest it. Even the scientists in the West, I laugh at them, some of them, because they are very ethical. So they have taken their time to accept what is happening, because it's understandable. Their culture, they grew up in a very moralistic culture, very ethical minded culture. But the Chinese are less ethical because of their culture again. They are very liberal people. So, they eat anything. Dogs, they can eat anything. They have really no problem. Ethical, the more ethical your culture is, the more laws it has, limitations. Don't eat a dog, don't eat this, don't eat. But the less ethical your culture is, the more liberal you are. So like the Chinese, they are very liberal. So they eat dogs, and this is now even seen in their science. Like the man we talked about, the handsome Chinese doctor who made the two girls who are genetically edited, and they will not have HIV. They will sleep with anybody who has HIV and will not get it because their body is HIV resistant. So, and in the Western world, that man could not have done that because of ethics, and because in the Western world they are very much driven by ethics. But in the Chinese world or the Eastern world, they are liberal. So they are going to do, and you wait, China is going to increase the world population artificially, leave alone naturally. Because already China has a problem in the natural reproduction of humans. They have too many old people because they controlled the number of children a person should have. So that created more old people than young. Now, to reverse that, they will artificially make humans. Yes, they will do cloning. That's what's going to happen. And once they do that, that's it. You know, this clone, like these two girls who have been created by this Chinese man, let me tell you, those are the new type of humans. What happened last year? That was evolution. It's an evolutionary event. And not only evolutionary, even revolutionary, because those are humans in another power. They are superhumans. Yes. Very important thing you need to understand. The magnitude of what happened with that Chinese experiment. So back to LGBTQ. Now, when you have a lesbian mother, her lesbianism, what you need to understand about lesbianism, and I even used to ask my lesbian friends that because I know my gay lifestyle, because it is natural, everything, I know the processes. So it doesn't really bother me. But I used to ask these lesbian friends, how? How do you get aroused? You know, I know, of course, the clitoris erects when they are happy and they release fluids. You see? And you must understand this, it's very important that this happens when a woman touches a lesbian woman and has sex with her. She naturally removes and secretes fluids. At the same time, the clitoris engorges. Now, if a woman touches a straight woman, she will not secrete fluids. Yes, she will. And what is that? That's a sign that she's not a lesbian. Neither will her clitoris stand. And you know, even when I was thinking about this, I got to learn. I was looking at the cultures in Africa that practice female circumcision, and I was asking myself, why did they do female circumcision? Now, if you go to those cultures, they'll tell you that there was a habit women had. Women in those cultures, or not women, generally they would say women tend to be horny. When they are very horny, sexually active. But when you cut the clit, they reduce in sexual activity. And that's the same even with male circumcision. Male circumcision actually reduces the chances of a man having sex. Reason being, the foreskin is a very sensitive part of the body that makes sex very pleasurable. It's, first of all, it has very many nerve endings, meaning when it touches a part in the body or enters an orifice and gets into contact, because of the many nerve endings, it goes to the brain. So that's why the uncircumcised males tend to be very sensitive because of that skin, that foreskin. Now, but when it's cut off, first of all, the head of the penis is dry, so it is there is no sensation, and the nerve endings have gone. So what does this mean? When the circumcised person has sex, they really don't. They are not sensitive, because it's just sex. I just want to release, and it's done. Unlike uncircumcised men who can have sex. If you just go and interview those ones who are not who are uncircumcised, and they'll tell you they can have it many times because they still have the nerve endings are many, so they are having a lot of dopamine going to the head round. But when you're circumcised, you don't need because you don't have very many nerve endings. Now that's the same with clitoridectomy, where they cut the clitoris. Because now when the clitoris is cut, the clitoris has very many nerve endings, just like the foreskin that belongs to male penis. So when you cut the clitoris, you have removed very many nerve endings. So what does this mean? The woman will not really go and look for sex, and because she has lost the sensation, or the sensations have reduced. And that's what you need to know about female circumcision. Now, when I was thinking about it, I thought to myself, I think these are cultures where very many women were lesbian, because lesbian sex includes playing with the clitoris, and it adds pleasure. It's very pleasurable. In fact, science has found out that women have more orgasms when you play with their clit than when you penetrate them. So meaning lesbian sex is number one now when it's for sex with women. Now, so what now I was wondering is to myself, these cultures that were circumcising women, I have a feeling they were trying to even reduce lesbianism in those communities. And of course, in Britain, under Queen Victoria, it was done to reduce it, because females were doing a lot of masturbation. The Industrial Revolution made the women very wealthy. Women now, ladies were at the house. The man is a company CEO. CEOs just started recently in the 19th century with the Industrial Revolution. So women were just staying in the house. Even Queen Victoria. Look at the movie Queen Victoria and Abdul. Her lover after her husband died. I mean, people were looking for sex because life was getting good. Industry brought good things. But what she did, that she was a backstabber to women, is that she allowed female circumcision to happen, because women were really masturbating in very high numbers. And so to reduce it, they would go and cut the clit and do female circumcision. So to me, I was thinking, I think it was a way of how to stamp out not only sexual activity, but even lesbianism. And I've seen it in Africa. And some of these communities, they tend to have lesbians. And surprisingly, ironically, these communities that have very many lesbians, they practice female circumcision. Of course, in Eastern Africa. But in Southern Africa, there is no tradition of female circumcision, and they have very many lesbians. Now, meaning they knew and they valued it. Because Southern Africa, for some weird reason, they valued sex just like Western Africa, and they saw it as a sacred ritual that you don't have. There's an article we're going to read, very good one, about varieties of homosexuality in Africa. So back to the lesbian mother. Now, if you have a woman who secretes fluids when she has sex with a woman and her clitoris also erects, this means that woman is a lesbian. And the secretion of fluids and the erection of the clitoris, what is happening in the body? The blood, because all erections have to do with the blood cells. So the blood cells are getting enlivened. So what does this mean? This woman's lesbianism is in her blood. It is in her DNA. That's why it gorges and she releases fluids. Yes, it is her. It is. I'm telling you, I don't preach science, but today I'm I'm going to sound like a pastor of science. Yes, it is. It is in her blood. Then this woman, this lesbian woman, has children. What makes you think her children will not be LGBTQ? They will be LGBTQ. Yes, they will be LGBTQ. I've already told you, studies have been done where a mother is schizophrenic, 60%, one of her children, or even almost all, can be schizophrenic. Yes. Left-handed children, 80% it's because of the mother. You'll find with the mother's line, there was a left-handed person. Yeah. It's the studies are there. Or just go and do your research and study the mother line. So the maternal line. And it's because of the mitochondria that she gives the children. And remember, not only does she give mitochondria, she also gives a genetic code, X. See, the X chromosome is found in the center of all the cells. That's why a man, is an XY and a woman is an XX. You see? So the X belongs to the mother, and that one is found in the center of every cell in the body. There's what you call the nucleus. Every cell has a nucleus, and each nucleus has your sexual identity. So there are some people who are XXY and XYY. That means each center of the cell, the capital of their cell, is XXY. So you'll find XXY in the blood cells, XXY, XXY. This is why you can tell somebody's XXY when you do the tests. Even apart from looking at the features of the person, to confirm, because there's some people, you may look at them and you don't know, and they're actually XXYs walking. They're quadruple X walking. So, back to the lesbian mother. So, if a mother can transfer diseases, because they are what you call mitochondrial diseases that are passed down to children. They come from the mother, much as they are genetic diseases that are passed down from the father to the children, but mostly the sons, because of the male chromosome Y, the Y chromosome, which even alternatively, when the father is gay, he'll most probably have gay sons because of that chromosome. And now let's come to the gay father. The gay father, when he has sex with a fellow man, he erects and erection is blood, and the blood is cells, and cells have your sexual identity, your Y chromosome and your X is there. A straight man cannot erect for another man. That is it. A straight man cannot erect for another man. That's what you need to understand. That's why no one will ever tell me that there are no straight men. They are there, but they're even dwindling because naturally we are bisexual or intersexual. Yes, we are all intersexual, but some are more intersexual than others. And then naturally we are all bisexual, but some are gay and some are straight and some are bisexual. Meaning, even though you have what you call the bisexual potential, you have the potential to be straight or gay, you will tend to live a certain lifestyle more prominently than another one because of very many factors. So you find some people, they will find themselves in the straight lifestyle for a long time, and that's who they will be, even though they have a potential, or they have even a story whereby they had a situation, they were with a man and yeah, they had fun, and then next time they got married to a woman and then they had children. Then because of the family life, they reduce on their gay lifestyle. As years pass on, it's still there, the potential is there, but they don't fire it up. And that's the same also for gay men. They spend time, you get married to a man, that's the end. You not think of being with a lady, and that's how it will be. Then you have bisexuals who actually actively still have sex with both men and women, and therefore these ones fully exercise their identity. So that is what you need to understand about people. Now, I was talking about the gay man. That, you see, when a gay man has sex, he also has the chromosomes, the blood cells. They are part of the process of enjoyment. So what does this mean? When he has children and they are sons, it is probable they will carry his sexual identity and his sexual preferences. That's why you will find, like in Israel, the story of the tribe of Benjamin. They were gay. Yes. They wanted to sleep with a Levite. The Levite was with a woman. The Levite was with a woman. But they wanted him, not her. You see? So what does that tell you? These were natural homosexuals, and they were from one tribe. Genetics. You see? So that's what people need to understand, that sexuality is so natural, it hurts. It's so natural, it hurts. It's passed down. Sexual orientation is passed down. It's passed down in the family line. And I know some people wish that, I want to change it. No, the reality is that's who you are. You can't change it. You can't. Yes. Because I know I live in Africa, and people have these deliverance sessions, they casting out spirits. What are you casting? If you want to do a very good deliverance session on an LGBTQ person, do you know what you do? Gene editing. And it's impossible to gene edit me. Now, it's done. Because if you gene edit me, it means you're killing me. It's basically killing me. Yes. Because I'm genetically expressing myself. This is a genetic expression of who I am. So there is no deliverance that can remove it. There is none. Because the deliverance to work, it has to be genetic. Yes, it has to be genetic. And as I told you now, with genetic editing, you can do that. You can cut off the gene marker that is gay. But guess what? They have just started finding the gay genes recently, last year, and they have got them. So it's there, but it's still not the total. Because as I told you, some children become gay not just because of genes, even because of hormones. The mother has estrogen flashes, and that estrogen flashes on the fetus, and the child becomes very feminine. And this is why transgenders are also natural. Yes, because that process of estrogen flashing. You see, it's weird. Have you noticed? You can see a masculine man, he's muscular, but he's a transgender. He's a trans woman. Now, why did that happen? It's because when the zygote was fertilized or created in fertilization, it was not showered with estrogen. So you'll find sometimes a very masculine man actually has a lot of femininity in him. And you'll ask yourself, no, this person is supposed to be a man. And he can't. He'll be a trans woman because the zygote may have been masculine because maybe the father was a very strong Y, a very masculine Y. But the mother, after the zygote was now implanted in the uterus, she was having a lot of estrogen flashes. So you find a very big man, but he's very feminine. Now what are you going to do to him? You see? So this is what people need to understand. Birth process, all of these things, they have an effect on who you are sexually. And just to conclude, that's a sign and clear sign that sexuality is natural. So I leave you with that understanding that if go and find out the sexual orientation of your parents. Yes, go and find out. Study. I was happy to see a man on Facebook say he came out at the age of 40. Yes, he already had his family, but he knew he had his feelings and he came out. Yes, you can come out anytime, even at death. Yes. And so and what I can tell you is go and ask your parents what they used to do, when they were young, how they used to behave, what they, just interrogate them for a few, if they are alive. Some people don't have their parents. So you just go and interrogate them, and you'll find out that when you notice a behavior that was very gay, yes, it can prove that that's why you have your sexual orientation. That's why you're gay, that's why you're lesbian, that's why you're transgender, that's why you're bisexual, that's why you're queer, and all of that. It's because your parents had that gene, and it was them. Or if not them, a relative, a distant relative. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining. I just had to share with you my thoughts. We'll keep it Rex Arthur TV, Rex Arthur channel.